Moving into Virgo season. This is a very complex sign, and Virgo season is part of the next cycle of involution before the fall of the sun. So we're losing the power of the sun as it is not rising as high as it was in Cancer season, when you have to look way up at the high noon. It's a little bit lower and lower, so we're not getting as much sunlight. So the plants are feeling it. They're kind of dried out and going in as we should be going in and preparing for the winter. Virgo, the actual symbol of the Sabian symbol, is an M with like this little hook on it. It kind of looks like a fish. And that M was represented the water. So Mar, Mem, Mary, and this sign is an earth sign, but it is also associated with water because we have a lot of earth. We have a lot of water on the earth. And it's a big part of life. Virgo rules the bowels. It rules the bowels and the solar plexus. And there's some interesting discussion around the solar plexus having like these 12 ganglia that go off. So it represents the entire zodiac is in the solar plexus. So we really must balance our solar plexus to have the right intuition. And we're living in a very interesting time of so much information coming at us constantly that it's really important to have good gut health. The abdominal area is our brain also. So Virgos, I always say that they have a good, strong bullshit meter. That's the intuition. And also we pay attention to all the details. I'm a Virgo rising with Mercury and Venus there. So lots of Virgo, and definitely was in the shadow aspects of my Virgo when I was younger, before I learned about astrology and what is represented. Because Virgos, they're always noted as being, so hypercritical and, a little bit too organized, too, just like a little bit anal about everything. And really it's really about the attention to detail, understanding patterns, sacred patterning. Virgo's about sacred work, really doing the work you love and being of service without being a martyr. So there's a lot of overdoing it, saying, like, okay, yeah, I'll help everybody, and maybe not take care of myself as much. So it's good to recognize that. And also, when we learn about the higher aspects of Virgo, you can actually move into them a lot easier. So when I learned that the higher aspects of Virgo were the high priest, high priestess, well, then I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. I love ritual and ceremony, and creating sacred space is very important. So we also live in a time where there's so much energies, entities, all kinds of stuff floating around. Part of it's all this electric we have going too, the electrified ether. The birds are agreeing with that. We really need to be good with our spiritual hygiene and really keep clearing our energy fields and being aware of who's around us and what's the voice in the head, and is it a good voice, is it not? Because we are in this open energy system. Our brains are like transmitters. So having the gut brain to also help with decision making and intuition is really important. And Virgos, I know so many Virgos that are having intestinal stuff. Well, and part of it's our terrible, food products. All the processed stuff is full of things that our bodies are like, what is this? I don't know. But there can also be deficiencies in minerals, and there's a big trend around this too. And there's also these homeopathic mineral salts that can help with that, the gut lining. And I do energy work that works with the energies of shape to correct disturbances in the body, so I can work on intestines and the lymph nodes, the intestinal nodes, also the nerves, things like that, that can really help clear disturbances. So sometimes it's not about the food you're eating and things like that, it's about a long term like disturbance in the, maybe you've always been disturbed in the gut. And I know many people that are Virgos that have had intestinal stuff since they could remember. So it's an interesting sign, and there's a lot of focus on the negative aspects, and I really do think we need to really bring back the old understandings of all the signs, because we all have a role to play here. And Virgos, we see patterns. We can correct patterns because we see them. So that's part of the healing work, is correcting patterns. And there is a great ability to shift and to, I mean, first it's just awareness. What's the patterns of my thoughts? What are the patterns of my actions? And so that's just huge. And a huge part of like this time is setting things up nicely for yourself in the winter. You know, it's because winter is going to be less sunlight, and the plants, just like our lives, the plant life is all affected by sunlight, and we're in the northern hemisphere here. So the light is important, and when we get less light, we don't get as much health for the body. So we have to, you know, rely on other sources of health. And going into it healthy actually really makes a difference. So I think that's all I wanted to say about Virgo, but just remember, Virgos, we're the high priest, high priestess. They're the ones responsible for sacred work. The energy of perfectionism is both shadow and light aspect in Virgo. So you want to be perfect, but also you want to enjoy yourself. You know, I always use the example of, you know, I danced hula in Hawaii for 10 years and never enjoyed my dance because it was just never like perfect enough until the end. Then I started to be like, oh, okay, I can like just enjoy things. I don't have to be perfect. So it can be a plus and a minus, and it's all about the levels that you're, you know, trying to be perfect, because we are not perfect. But the strive for perfection is amazing, as long as it's done in the right way and we can enjoy the ride. So Virgos need to just relax and enjoy the ride a little bit more, and also still strive for perfection, you know. And the attention to detail is important, but it can also hinder you from doing new things because you don't know all the details. And you don't need to work them out. You can actually add space for just what comes through in the moment when you're creating things. So don't get hung up on the details, Virgos, because it's important to, because sometimes you won't do it just because you don't know all the details, and that's not right either, because we do have some great ideas. I'm working on a course that's going to happen twice a month, and it's going to be an hour online, Zoom small group, and it's going to focus on everything about this tropical zodiac that is key to following the seasons, the cycles, the sun, the moon, and how to tune into these cycles so we can experience the flow state. And another thing about this is it's ancient information, and it really helps to balance your energies when you're in line with the sky wheel. And this isn't about constellations. This is about a tool, the zodiac, that it can be used in everyday life. So it's going to be before new moons, before full moons. Those are when the classes are going to be, and I'm going to organize that very soon, and begin in the fall. And yeah, and we'll use your chart if you sign up. And so it's going to relate it to your energies and how to best move through the sky wheel, because there's so much information out there, and there's a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of new age psyops. There's so many psyops, Lord. Psyop after psyop. I'm reading this amazing book from the 30s that is talking about going through the age of Aquarius, and like all these projections about how the age of Aquarius is going to be. And it's like, how many times have we experienced this age of Aquarius psyop? Seriously, because ages are long. They're long transitions. I mean, a couple thousand years, you know. So, and it's how long has it been used as this, like, no, this great thing's coming and it's a great change. What about now, in the present moment? Like, how is your life now? How are you handling things? You know, it's just all about the present moment and not these projections of these utopias, you know? So it really helps you see all the other stuff that's really kind of vague and general. I look at astrology readings now and I'm just like, vague and general. And you say, and each astrologer has their own theme. And of course I have my themes too. But I just, it's like, you know, they're helpful to a point, but also you have to see where they're coming from, their frame of reference, their perception, and what are they projecting out, because we all have different paths, and we have there's so many different combinations of energies for everybody's chart, you know, all the different angles of light, their frequencies. So understanding your chart is how you understand how to move through this reality, not a vague interpretation of all Virgos, all Libras, you know. It's not about the vague interpretations. It's about the interpretation of your chart, your energies, and how to best balance that, harmonize the difficulties in the chart. So that's what this course is really going to be focusing on, cosmic consciousness, really, as we move through the sky wheel. I think that's going to be the title. Anyways, thanks for listening, and comment below if you're a Virgo and you got, you know, have some challenges. Because we all do. We all are challenged in some ways or the other, but we have different challenges. So definitely moving into a right relationship with my Virgo really helped so much, because, oh boy, I was definitely in the shadow aspects of my Virgo for many years, and it feels good to be in the higher aspects now. Not that the shadow doesn't show up, but it's not my dominant energy that I'm running. All right now. Happy Virgo, new moon.